Hey guys, John Sin here again with another video mailbag for you. Today's question comes in from Ilya, who writes, "Hey John, recently discovered your blog. Very interesting stuff. I like your podcast. Your stories about community guys really help to put the game in perspective and develop a healthy attitude towards pickup. Here's my question. It happens quite often that I end up in target poor environments, in venues where there's a lot more guys than girls. After trying to game in bad ratio situations, I realized that ratio has a huge impact on the success of a cold approach. If I go to the same venue on a night when the ratio is in my favor, I see significant differences in interactions with girls, verbal as well as nonverbal. It may sound very obvious, however, a lot of gurus out there promote a sniper attitude, one shot, one kill, which in fact is very counterproductive. I myself had this mentality when I started gaming. Every time I failed a set, I blamed it on myself rather than external conditions or a bad night. Granted, I do have a lot of room for improvement, yada yada yada. After going to clubs every week for several months, I realized that classic cold approach framework doesn't work very well in that environment. So I started to use some other stuff, operating below the threshold, pre-opening, I won't open if I don't have eye contact, etc., etc. So he's pre-opening, and all he can do now is build social proof and use that to get eye contact or just cold approach girls, which I think creeps them out more than when there are more guys than girls. So my question is, when you see that there are like 7 guys to 2 girls in a club, do you even try to game? Would there be other good tactics besides social proof one could use in bad ratio situations? Honestly, this just sounds like gay excuse making, to be completely honest, Ilya. I go out in bad ratios a lot. I mean, I think if you're going out during the week, you're going to see bad ratios because guys are just more likely to be out on a Tuesday than girls. It doesn't really change the game too much unless the guys are approaching. I do find that if you're in a venue that's very meat markety, it definitely does affect the game. What happens is it's going to be a little bit harder to open, but easier to get laid, if that makes sense. So what's going to happen is girls are going to have more of their guard up because guys are hitting on them all the time. When I lived in Dallas, me and Captain Jack, we used to go to places like this place Carson's, which years ago on Wednesdays was a real meat market. Like, really, we would get laid there basically every time we went there because everyone was hitting on girls. Like, it was very much a place to go get picked up. So girls were kind of more on the prowl, and guys were more aggressive. So when the guys are more aggressive, what happens is the girls are getting hit on, so their initial barrier to entry goes up a little bit, but every time a girl gets hit on, it's flattering, and so every time she gets hit on, her buying temperature raises a little bit, until eventually, if she gets hit on by the right guy or a guy that's attractive, she's gonna be very sexually open. So that's kind of the game in these bad ratio venues, is you have to understand that the guys are going to be approaching, and the girls are going to be a little more uptight on the opener, but if you can ride that out, and you can show them that you're not just there to pull ass, and that you're actually cool, and you are an attractive guy, you're going to find that you get laid a lot easier. I definitely think social proof is always a good thing. Like you said, I'm not a big proponent of the one shot, one kill mentality, because I think, A, it's creepy as hell to talk about this stuff in terms of shooting and killing, and B, I just think it's unrealistic. Most guys, 50% is really good. Really, really good, So that means if you're going to take a girl home, you're going to need to do at least 2 approaches. And I find that my best nights come when I do 6, 7, 8 approaches, because then you've got some social proof going, you can have some jealousy between the 2 girls, you can collect some phone numbers from girls who have bad logistics, and ultimately figure out the girl who's most attractive, who has the best logistics, and try to work that for a same night lay. I definitely don't think you need to really focus on pre-opening or building attractive value before you open in these venues. The thing is, you just have to open and get through the initial uncomfortableness, because that's what it is, because they're going to have a little bit of their guard up, because there are guys, and the initial assessment that a girl's going to make is, oh, look, here's another guy trying to pull ass at this bar full of guys trying to pull ass. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have a shot with the girl, it just means that it's going to be more difficult on the front side. So you might even want to pace it. You might even want to say something like, look, I can tell you're probably a really nice person normally, but you're just used to the 8 guys per girl who are hitting on you tonight, so you're sick of all the dorks hitting on you, but you can be a little nicer. Using a little bit of pacing about what's happening, showing that you understand that it's a cockfest is good. You can even use an opener that says that. Like I used to, when I would go to bad ratio places in Dallas, I came up with the opener, the cock farm opener, which is just where you walk up to girls and go, hey girls, real quick question, is it just me or is it like a complete cock farm in here tonight? I swear there's like 5 guys for every girl. This is good for you guys, but not really that good for me. Maybe you guys can help me get free drinks or something. And by showing that you understand that, and pacing it, I might even say something like, yeah, I'm probably like the 5th guy who's come up to you guys tonight, but at least I'm cool, how bad were the other guys? Or, don't worry, if you don't like me in 57 seconds, there'll be another guy here to talk to you. Because by showing that you understand it, that you understand that the girls are uncomfortable with the guys, which is a pretty fair assessment, I would say, it definitely demonstrates social intelligence, and it starts to show that you're on the same page length as the girls, all right, which is helpful as well. So hopefully that helps, Ilya. You don't want to worry too much about that stuff, though, honestly. Do the approaches and see what the patterns are in your approaches. If the patterns are consistent, then you have a problem. If not, you're just making excuses, and a lot of guys make a lot of excuses, so it's not just Ilya. Don't make excuses, guys. Doesn't help you. Anyway, I'll be back with you guys next week. If you have questions you want to see answered in this video mailbag format, send them to sin, S-I-N-N, @sinsofattraction.com. Talk to you later.